What's up, beautiful people? It's Xavier here, back again with another video. I am enjoying doing these, and I hope that you guys are too. And if you are, make sure that you like down below. In this video, what we're going to be talking about is how you can find off market. Now, as a real estate investor, the number one way for you to find more profitable deals for your company and for your business are to find deals that are in more distressed situations. Now, typically, the worst way to find deals are on the MLS. Now, there are deals to be had on the MLS from properties that have been sitting for a while, but the problem is you're competing with people that are going to pay full cash price. As a wholesaler, real estate investor, fix and flipper, whatever it is that you're doing, you're looking to find a property at a discount. And typically houses that are on the MLS or people that are selling their own home, for sale by owner, they are typically looking for top dollar. They're not looking for a lower cash offer to get through it. Now, you may be able to negotiate a little bit of spread there, but it's only going to be a couple $1,000s. And once you add in your closing costs, your marketing fees, your actual cost to operate the business, it may not make sense for you. So what you want to do is look for off-market properties in more distressed situations. So how do you find the data for these? Now, there's a couple of different data vendors. Our favorite data vendor is nationaldatasource.com. You go check them out and they can get you in touch with a couple of different data sets. Now, as a real estate investor, what types of data sets are you looking for? You want properties that are in a distressed situation. So you want things that are pending foreclosure, vacant properties. Absentee ownership is another big one. So that's where there's either a landlord that owns the property, whether they're in state or out of state. Typically, those are great ones. There's probate or estate properties. There's courthouse auctions. You can work with for sale by owners or expired listings. There are things like water shutoffs. There's tax delinquents, tax liens. So there's all these different types of lists that these data companies have that you can go out and purchase people in a specific area that you're looking for. So if you're looking for a specific zip code, you can say, hey, I'm looking for absentee owners, this type of house, this purchase price that are made after this certain date. And that's called purchasing data. Typically, most data vendors will get you that data from anywhere from 3 cents all the way up to 8 cents per record. So you can purchase that for a pretty cheap rate. But the thing that you want to do is typically that data is only a fraction of what you're looking for. So going out and purchasing this, distressed property data to help you get, bigger spreads on your deals and people that are most likely to be motivated sellers is only one piece of the puzzle. The other thing that you need to do in order to make sure that you're actually making contact is, one, you need to figure out what your method of marketing is. So if you're going to go and purchase this data list and you're planning on sending out mailers, you're planning on cold calling, you're planning on sending out texts, you're planning on using it to upload to a Facebook audience and run an ad, you need to know what your method of marketing is, because that'll tell you what you need to do with data next, and also how much data you're going to be using. So if you're going to be sending outbound text message campaigns, you probably need to purchase a lot more data. If you're going to be cold calling and you're doing it yourself, which I don't recommend if you're scaling your business. If you're just getting started, it's okay to start doing that. That's the hustle mentality. As you'll see on this channel, we'll talk a lot about building systems and getting yourself out of that day-to-day grind and focusing on leverage scalable systems. You should have VAs doing the cold calling for you, setting the appointments, and then you get on the phone. So if you're cold calling, you may need a smaller subset of data because you can only call through so much. You don't want to buy a ton of data. And especially in these distressed situations, people move in and out of these situations. So it may not always be a hit right away. So that's the first thing. After you purchase your list, you figured out what type of method of marketing you're using, and I'll tell you about how many records you need to purchase. The next thing that you need to do is hydrate or skip trace that data. So in that data, you're going to get some of the property information, but you're not going to get all of the seller contact information. So again, at National Data Source, you can do what's called skip tracing. So skip tracing will allow you to take the property info, take the info that you purchase for a couple of cents per record, and you typically pay anywhere from 18, and some places are really expensive at 20-25 cents per record. And you want to make sure that you're using a vendor that you only pay for the hits. So what that means is, if I send a data vendor 1,000 records, I'm only wanting to pay for the ones where I get a match. So if I send them 1,000 records and I only get 800 records back that have matched through what's called skip tracing, where I can find additional information about that property, I only want to pay for that 80% I got back. I don't want to pay for the other 200 records that they didn't find anything for. And if you have a data vendor that's charging you for the full record amount, you need to find another data vendor, because you're just throwing away money at that point. All All right, so once you're just paying for the hit rate from your data vendor, you'll have a list back of data that you've matched. So you purchase your list, you know how many records you need by utilizing, finding out what your method of marketing is. You've now skip traced your data. Now this data is ready to work. So when you get your skip trace list back, what you'll typically find is that you'll have multiple rows of phone numbers. And it may be one household has 6 different numbers that you can contact. This is where you want to plan your method of marketing to make sure that you get the most run out of that. Now, if you're cold calling, you don't want to call all 7 numbers on those because it's a lot of wasted effort at one property. You want to focus on getting through things as quickly as possible, and then you want to go back and do another pass of the data. So typically in your first pass of the data, you want to call the records that you have the highest chance of actually getting a response. If you're doing text messaging, you want to do the same thing. You want to pick the top 3 numbers, send a text message or ringless voicemail out to those top few numbers, cold call through the rest of them to figure out which one's actually getting you a hit or a response, and continue that way through the process. And what you'll find is you'll start to see the averages and numbers where you'll see, okay, when I purchase this amount of data from this vendor, I get X amount of hit rate, which is the number that you get back from skip tracing. And when I send text messages or cold calling, this is my response rate. Those are the 3 KPIs that you want to keep track of. Is when I purchase my list, what is my match rate? Because that'll tell you how good the data is that you're getting back. And then also it'll tell you how good your skip trace vendor is. If you're not seeing 80+% match rate on the data that you're sending to a skip trace vendor, you're typically missing out on a lot of records. So you want to try a couple of different places to make sure that you get your skipped. Again, we prefer to use National Data Source. They find, we've found that they have, some of the best match rates. From there, we also want to take a look at when we send out our marketing campaigns, what is our response rate? So when I send out this text message to this type of property, whether it's, let's say it's mobile home owners or absentee owners, what is my response rate? How many people did I get to respond? How many leads were generated? And then how many deals did I get from that? You want to keep this down in a spreadsheet so that way hey, when I purchase from, let's say it's ListSource, and I skip traced and I sent text messages to 5,000 records, here's how many deals I got from that. So that way you can focus on, okay, what types of distress situations are getting us our deals? And that's how you can find, off-market deals. Most people are, relying on, kind of outdated marketing methods. Big data is shifting, not only technology companies, but it's also shifting real estate investors. And when you take this approach and you shift your focus into utilizing data for your operation for real estate investors, you'll be able to, basically bring your operation into the 21st century. You'll be able to find, deals where you can get larger spreads, more profitable for your company, which means you'll have to do less deals. Or if you want to do more deals, you can scale up your volume with these different marketing methods, and you can find more deals than you could if you were just banging the phones yourself or sending out mailers or doing cold calling. So just to recap, how can you find off-market real estate deals? So number 1 is you need to go out and purchase distressed situations. You're not going to find these on the MLS. You're not going to find these, in typical places that people will tell you to do. Just calling through or knocking doors. Knocking doors, you may find them, or driving for dollars, you may find these situations. But the most scalable way to get to these distressed situations is go to a reputable data vendor, purchase a list from them, take that list and then get it skip traced. Then once you get it skip traced, use your marketing method. Obviously, I prefer you do something more scalable like SMS, ringless voicemail, paying VAs for cold calling. You can still try and do mailers. Mailers have a longer time to figure out what the response is. So if you're looking to get deals quicker, this is a little bit of a longer play, whereas the quickest possible would be SMS and RVM. You can also upload them to Facebook in a custom audience and run what I call digital bandit ads to them. So you can run Facebook ads to this list, and then you want to keep track of your KPIs. So what type of data did you buy? What was your match rate when you skipped it? How many responses did you get? How many leads did you get? How many deals did you get? And then what was your average spread on those deals? If you keep track of those KPIs, you'll make sure that you're only focusing on the distressed data that is working best for you. You'll be able to find more off-market deals, and you'll be able to negotiate larger spreads on them because they're in more distressed situations. So again, to recap, some of those types of lists that you can go and pull from a data vendor are, pending foreclosure, vacants, absentees, probates, water shutoffs, tax liens. All right, so hopefully that was helpful for you to find trying, to position yourself to take advantage of off-market deals in 2020. We know from, firsthand experience, investors that are using this data strategy are finding more deals, bigger spreads on their deals, and they're actually competing in some of the most competitive markets. So I highly recommend you take a look at this, watch this video over a couple of times. If you have questions, leave me a comment down below or follow me on Instagram at Xavier_Major. Make sure you subscribe and like this video. I enjoy creating these for you guys, so if you have videos that you want to see, other topics, be sure to leave me a comment, and I will see you in the next video.